probably heard that you should get a home inspection when you're buying a house. If you're like most of the clients I work with, your next questions are probably, what's a home inspection? Why do I need it? And how much does it cost? This is Home Inspection 101. I'm Dave with the Bolduc Realty Group. I'm a licensed Connecticut real estate broker. I am not a licensed home inspector, although I do play one when I'm flipping houses. Actually, I don't. I bring a contractor along. He tells me what's what. I'm going to cover the different types of inspections and when you should think about doing them. A few key points. The inspection period is defined in your contract. It's usually one of the first things that happens after you go under contract. You usually have 10 to 14 days to get it done. The end of the inspection period is a key date. Your agent should be tracking that for you. I highly recommend scheduling all inspections as early in that inspection period as possible. Don't worry, home inspectors are used to short fuse requests. You can check out my home buyer experience video series for why it's so important to schedule as early as possible. Your agent should be able to provide you with recommendations for inspectors and also help coordinate dates with the seller. Depending on the inspections that you select, you may need to get multiple service providers. We'll go through more details on that as we go through the inspections. A quick note, you can rewatch this and take as many notes as you want while you're watching the video, but you don't need to remember the details. This is one of the big reasons why you work with a buyer's agent. They should be able to talk to you in detail about all of these inspections off the top of their head. The first type of inspection is a home inspection. Think of it as your annual physical at the doctor's office. It's pretty comprehensive, but they don't do the deep invasive testing. That's done by other inspections. A home inspection is an on-site review of the condition of your home by a licensed home inspector. They play a critical role because they give you an unbiased assessment of the house. They look at the roof, the foundation, and everything in between. They test the HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all those important systems, and they also assess the age, status of repair, and the suitability of components of your house. The duration of the home inspection can be anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. Your mileage may vary. I highly recommend that you attend the home inspection in person and you stay with the home inspector during that entire inspection. Note-taking and questions are highly encouraged. The inspector also takes tons of pictures and is going to provide a written report at the end. This is the most common type of inspection, and I recommend it for every home buyer. Home inspections typically cost starting around $400. It varies depending on the size of the house. The second inspection is radon. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that seeps up through the bedrock. It is common in parts of Connecticut and can also be found in well water. The home inspector is typically capable of completing this test as part of the home inspection. They just need a little bit of lead time. For airborne radon testing, there are two methods. They both require to be in the house for about 48 hours. The first method is an electronic method that gives you real-time results. The second is a test kit that needs to be sent to a lab for analysis. That lab time is at least an extra day. For waterborne radon testing, water samples are taken, sent to the lab for testing. Radon inspections cost $100 or more, depends if you're pairing it with a home inspection and other criteria. There's a link down below to the Connecticut.gov website talking about radon. The third inspection we're going to talk about is lead inspections. The federal lead paint disclosure details your rights to do an inspection on a house that you're buying for lead paint. Lead paint was outlawed for use in residential homes in 1978. Homes built before 1978 may or may not have lead paint, depending on whether it was used and if it was renovated or remediated. The inspections need to be done by a certified lead paint inspector. Your home inspector may be certified or may not be. You need to ask them. There's also a possibility of lead pipes in the water system. So lead pipes or lead solder can cause lead to seep into drinking water if it's in the system. Your home inspector should be able to show you if there's any lead pipes that they see in the house. The Regional Water Authority can also help you to identify if there's any lead pipes in the water system in your house or in pipes going up to your house. Lead paint inspections can run from $300 or more depending on how many rooms, the size of the rooms, etc. There are links in the description to Connecticut.gov website for lead pipe paint information and to the Regional Water Authority for lead pipe information. The fourth inspection is the septic inspection. This is a must-have inspection if your house has a septic system. I've had several clients who found septic tanks that needed to be replaced during the inspection, depending on the size and location, could be very expensive. The last couple have been in the $7,000 range, and that's just the septic tank. In addition, I've also had examples of other parts of the system being crushed by heavy vehicles driving over them, including the distribution box, the septic tank, or the leach fields. Distribution box, maybe $500 depending on where it is to be replaced. Leach fields, a lot more. An entire septic system, especially if it's engineered, can run into the tens of thousands of dollars. During the inspection, the seller will have the tank pumped. I've seen some people go with the septic pumping company and have them do a visual inspection of the tank and think everything's good. I highly recommend you get somebody who is specialized in inspecting septic tanks, and they have them run a camera from the septic tank all the way through the system out to the leach field. This is the only way you're going to know that the entire system is functional. It's better safe than sorry because septic systems are extremely expensive. The cost of a septic inspection, it varies. It could be $400 to $600 or more. The fifth inspection is the well inspection. This is another must-have inspection if your home is serviced by a well. Give an example. I had a client who bought a house that needed renovation, bought it as is, but he did want to do the well inspection based on my recommendation. When the well inspection was done, ran out of water in about 5 minutes, and we were only getting about a gallon per minute before that. So these are big problems. We were able to negotiate a significant credit from the seller to the buyer because these issues were not disclosed. So keep that in mind. There's some testing options. Water quality. You take some samples, you put them in a bottle, send them to the lab, you tell the lab what to test. The home inspector can give you recommendations on what types of testing you need to do. Well flow rate. In this case, you're looking at how much water, gallons per minute, are coming out of the well. What they do is they can put a flow meter on a hose that's running and see how quickly it's coming out, or the old-fashioned method, time how long it takes to fill a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket. Both work. Well capacity is another one. The well inspector will calculate how much capacity there is in the well, and then they'll run the well for an extended period of time. If it runs out before the expected period of time, there may be a problem. Well capacity is very important. The final one is well recovery. So the recovery rate is how quickly does the well fill back up after heavy usage. If you have very slow well recovery, then it could be a problem long term, especially if you're expecting to use a lot of water. Cost of well inspections also vary. They can be several $100s. The next inspection is the mold inspection. Mold is a scary subject for many people. Not to ruin your day, but in your house and in the air, there is mold all the time. Some mold is pretty harmless. Other mold is pretty bad, and that needs to be addressed immediately. Typically, a home inspector is going to be able to visually see mold and say, hey, this is a mold-like substance. You should probably have this checked out. There are quite a few mold remediation companies that are very reputable in the area. If you need a recommendation, ask me. I can give you a recommendation from personal experience. A couple of examples. The homeowners of a house I recently sold they're very meticulous, took great care of the house, but they had a terrible shock during the home inspection. The buyer's home inspection found that there was mold in the attic. The cause was insulation was blocking airflow, so there wasn't any airflow in the attic. Those buyers, they walked away. Since it was a multiple offer situation, all I needed to do was call the next buyers. I explained to them what was going on. I disclosed the issue, and I told them what the repair remediation plans were. They were fine with that, signed a contract, the remediation got done, and the deal got closed. So it is possible to deal with. I've also had tenants who've caused mold problems in houses, and I've dealt with mold in houses that I was renovating. The key to avoiding mold is two things. First, make sure that there's good ventilation, address any issues that may occur. And the second thing is address any sources of moisture. This is one of the big reasons why I recommend that you have a dehumidifier in every basement. Down below, there are links to the CT.gov website page about mold. The seventh inspection is the asbestos inspection. Asbestos is another one of those scary words, and with good reason. Asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral that was used in a lot of different applications, including some building materials. Building materials include flooring adhesive, roof and siding tiles, and insulation. In 1989, some of those uses were banned To be clear, asbestos is still used in many applications. There are no new applications allowed, and those banned applications are still not allowed. Your home inspector should be able to point out things that look like or asbestos-like substances and recommend that further testing or other activities be done to address it. The key to asbestos, don't mess with it. If it's in good condition, unbroken, it's fine. If it's damaged or frayed, then the asbestos can get airborne, and that's where it can become a real problem. If you come across asbestos and you want it removed, the best thing to do is to contact a certified asbestos expert, have them take care of it. The CT.gov and EPA websites on asbestos are in the links down below. The 8th inspection is the foundation inspection. You've probably heard of crumbling foundations in Connecticut. That issue is related to a material called pyrrhotite in the concrete. That issue has been contained, and it's centered in the northeast corner of the state. Sellers in that area need to provide a disclosure. Your home inspector will note any issues that they see with the foundation. If you need to do a foundation inspection, typically it's caused by the findings of another inspection. Example, I was selling a house in Hamden. The foundation had settled to the point where the floor was noticeably sloped. Structural engineer came in, take a look at it, assessed that the house had settled immediately after construction and was now stable. They ended up buying the house. The cost of a foundation inspection is variable. It depends on the scope. You would need to get a quote for that. The link to the CT.gov website for crumbling foundations is in the description below. The 9th inspection, wood destroying insects. Wood destroying insects include carpenter bees, carpenter ants, termites. I'm sure there's a bunch of other. The inspection is completed by a certified inspector. Usually takes about an hour. Your home inspector may be certified, may not be. You need to ask. If they're not certified, they can certainly tell you if they see any indication of termite or other damage that needs to be addressed. If you're getting a VA loan, it is required that you get a wood destroying pest or insect inspection. It used to be that the inspection was not allowed to be paid for by the buyer. Why? I don't know. The VA has since changed those rules, so it doesn't matter anyway. These inspections, $150 to $200. There is a link down below to CT.gov website talking about wood destroying pests as well. That's it for the inspections that I'm going to cover. I'm sure I didn't cover every single one, but it's a good sampling to give you an idea of what kind of inspections are out there. The home inspection, that first one I talked about, is the key. A good home inspector is going to find or at least identify potential issues in a lot of different areas, which will then guide you to take the next steps. Sometimes the issues are so big that you just don't want to be involved in the house anymore and you walk away. No further inspections are required. Sometimes you're okay with what's going on, just want to understand it more. At that point, your realtor or the home inspector can give you some recommendations on who to do the follow-on inspections. And if you need to, your agent can also request additional time to get that inspection done. The inspection process can be very simple or it can be terribly overwhelming. Your agent should be able to walk you through this process and give you the support and recommendations you need as you're going through the process. I hope this helps you to understand what the different types of inspections are, whether you should do them or not, why they're important, and how much they cost. I'm Dave with the Bolduc Realty Group. Have a great day.